StraightallDay.com.
Tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today we are on what is anticipated to be part 4 of 4. I'm talking about businesses that you can start right now. Where you are, you might have to get up off your couch to start them, but from where you are right now, you can start these businesses. Do not require any specialized skill or any certifications, or you haven't gone to any certain school or anything like that. So we already got parts 1 through 3. This was initially going to be a 3-part series, but I went pretty long on the part where I was talking about being a virtual assistant, so we gave that its own episode. Now we're talking about parts 7, 8, and 9, so there will be 3 points in this episode. So before we get started, I remind you all, I send out a text message every morning called the Daily Motivation that is free to everyone in my text community. If you would like to receive that message, guaranteed to help you start your day being focused, sharp, and on point, here's all you got to do is text me at my number 305-384-6894, and every morning when that message goes out, you shall receive that text. And you can actually respond to those messages, and I do take time every day and go through my replies and respond back to people. And that number's down below in the description. Secondly, workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's where you can get to work with me directly. Any of these business ideas that I give you, if you want help getting your mind in the right place for actually making these work, a strategy so you have a game plan for executing, a system so that you can do these things, the things that work in your business over and over and over again, and get rid of the stuff that doesn't, and the accountability so you can execute on a consistent basis the way you're supposed to and that your processes are executing. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Again, that link, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can get to work with me directly. That's the only place where you work with me directly is in the university. Now, getting right to our final 3 points here, final 3 businesses that you can start right now. Number 7, pet sitting and dog walking. Yes, pet sitting and dog walking. You can do this from your neighborhood. Ideally, if you're in a place where you don't mind being outside, wherever you would go outside. This one is very simple, where you need very little skill aside from the very important skill. There's one important skill, is you got to be able to acquire and maintain the trust of a dog owner, because that dog may be the most valuable relationship the owner has. Now, where I live in my area, there are a lot of dog owners who do not have kids. I can tell because I see people always outside walking their dogs, and I see them all the time, and I see the dog all the time. I never see anyone other than them and the dog. I don't see anybody else. So for many adults, they get pets because they don't have children, and the pet basically becomes the child. So that's a very important relationship for the owner of that pet. So you, as the dog walker or the pet sitter, you must have a high level of trust in that relationship with the owner, because they are basically letting you watch their child. Right? They ain't got anything else besides that dog, or let's just say usually that it's a dog. Most of the time when I see them as dogs, I don't ever see anybody walking a cat. So there must be a high level of trust between you and them in order for them to let you deal with that valuable relationship when they are not around to watch what you're doing. So it's a high trust thing. That's the very most important thing you gotta have. You have very good people skills in order to even do this business, because every client you have has to trust you enough to give you the keys to their house or let you into their home to go get the dog, let you feed the dog, watch the dog, walk the dog, whatever you're doing with the dog. And of course you gotta have sales skills, because we're talking about business here. And the best dog walkers that I've seen in my neighborhood, and we're gonna assume that you have an affinity for pets and dogs and all of that. So I'm just assuming you have that skill if you've been thinking about going into the dog walking business. If you hate dogs and you hate pets and you hate picking up dog poop, this is not the job for you. But if you are good with all that stuff, I'll tell you the traits of the people that I see, because usually I live in areas where there's not usually, all the time. For the last, what year is it? It's 2023. So for the last 15 years, I've always lived in neighborhoods and in buildings. I live in high-rise buildings. So there's a whole bunch of people packed in one building, and there's always a whole bunch of pets. And a whole bunch of people with pets, and a whole bunch of basically dog moms and dog dads. And when I say dog moms and dog dads, I mean people who have a dog but they don't have a child. I see a whole lot of those people. And I get to know the dog walkers because I'm always in and out of the building. I'm up and down the elevator, so I get to know the dog walkers because I see them all the time. And here are the traits that I notice in them that are common. And this is over the last 15 years. I've seen plenty of them, and they all have these things in common. They are very affable people. They are very friendly. They talk to everyone. They will initiate conversations. They are high energy. They're the type of people that you feel like you can trust them even if you only spoke to them for 30 seconds. They have that kind of energy. They just have that aura about them. If you want to be a dog walker or a pet sitter, you need to be these things. Because if I'm going to let you in my house, I'm going to let you deal with my dog, and I don't have any kids, I have to trust you a lot. Point number 8. Today's topic, once again, business ideas that you can start right now. Number 8, online production / information technology. Now, this title may make some of you kind of anxious, or you may go over your head, make you think that you can't do it. But let's be clear exactly what this means. Online production or information technology, also known as IT, this is a job that anyone can develop the ability to do this with a bare minimum level of skill development. Now, let's be clear. Some of you who work in IT, you may be thinking to yourself, no, Dre, that's not true. You may think I'm disrespecting your job or your career by saying someone can do this with a bare minimum level of skill development. Well, it depends on what kind of information and what kind of technology. All right, let's be clear. Okay, I'm not saying anyone can do any of it, because I know people who are in IT, and you do actually need some specialized knowledge to do it, but it depends on levels. There's levels to this shit, right? There's levels to this game. So, for example, if you wanted to learn how to edit podcast episodes, like edit the audio, let's say I had you edit the audio to this episode. If you do about 20 hours of learning or training, or you took a course on how to edit audio for a podcast, after 20 hours of training, guess where you would be? You would be ahead of 99% of the human population at that skill. And thus, you have a business opportunity because you're better than most people. Understand this, people. If you take 20 hours to learn anything, 20 hours to learn anything, and different people may throw different numbers out here for this point that I'm filling in, so you can swap out 20 hours for whatever number you've heard somebody else say. After about 20 hours of learning any particular skill, you are ahead of 99% of the population, which means you have a business opportunity because you know more than damn near everybody else. I've told you in the past that human beings do not read, people do not think, and people are lazy. So if you just do the opposite of those 3 things in any one area of life that is marketable, i.e. you can make money in it, you will be ahead of most people, and you have a business opportunity on your hands. That does not guarantee money falling out of the sky, but you do have an opportunity because you have the skill. Anything that can be done online but requires a certain amount of knowledge, if you are willing to do the work to acquire that knowledge, you can be better than damn near everybody. And usually the work simply means just getting the information, sitting with the information and consuming it and learning it. That's all it means. Doing the work. That's all it means. The person who edits the audio for this podcast, Nico, is my audio guy. He's been doing my audio damn near since the start of the show. He told me that the way he got really good at what he does is because he was editing this show. He got good at what he does because he was editing this show. And the reason he got good at it is because this show comes out every single day. And he developed his proverbial 10,000 hours of working on audio by working on this very show. Now, because when he first started, he was working just on this show. Now he has a whole company where he and his company manage a whole bunch of podcasts, and they manage a whole bunch of people's shows and manage the audio and get the stuff out and get the show notes out and the artwork and all of that stuff and make sure it gets published to the platform. They do all of those things. So if any of you has a podcast, I'm sure there got to be some podcasters listening to this podcast, then you need someone who can edit your audio or just manage your show total. I shouldn't diminish what they do by saying edit audio, but manage your show period overall. Just reach out to me, send me a text message or an email. My email is dre@dreallday.com, and I can introduce you to the guys who do it for me, and they will help you out and they'll take it from there. But the whole point is, if you put the time in to learn a skill, you'll be ahead of damn near everyone else, because most people only go a mile wide and an inch deep in pretty much everything that they do. And what do I mean by that? I talked about this in episode number 1254, inches and miles. You want to go an inch wide and a mile deep, at least on one thing in your life that is marketable. And by marketable, that just means something that you can make money in, so that you give yourself an opportunity ahead of most of the population. That's what it means to go an inch wide and a mile deep. What most people do is go a mile wide and an inch deep, meaning they know a little bit about a whole bunch of different things, and that can be valuable depending on what you choose to do professionally. I told you just a couple episodes ago, the virtual assistant episode that became his own episode, the point that became his own episode, is being a jack of all trades actually a good thing there, because you know a little bit about a lot of things, which means you'll be able to relate to and can help the person that you work for in a lot of different ways, because you know so much about so many different things, or at least you're open to becoming that person who is going an inch deep and a mile wide, simply because you may need to learn a whole bunch of things about stuff that you know nothing about right now. If you're open to that and you have the people skills, you can still get into a virtual assistant job working with somebody who does something that you know absolutely nothing about, but you have the open-mindedness to learn about it. I have a lot of clients who work with me inside of Work on Your Game University. They are doing things that I don't know anything about their industry, but I am an open-minded person, I'm a fast learner, and I know how to ask the right questions, so I can learn about what they're doing, and I can learn a good amount about what they do simply by talking to them. And I'm the one coaching them, because I know how to ask the right questions. And that's the most important thing when you're helping people, is asking the right questions and being able to break things down. And as I've told you all, my superpower is getting to understand a situation, breaking it down and putting it back together in a certain way such that anybody can understand it and someone could use it and benefit from it. And that is one of the key skills that makes me a good coach, and why the university is what it is, and why we had the results that we have in that university. So going back to, we're still on what are we on here? We're on point number 8. Point number 8, which is online work and, I'm finding my spot here. I lost my spot while I'm talking to you all. But online work and information technology is where I was at. And this is about you, again, taking the time to learn an ability that you otherwise did not know. So number 8 is online production and information technology. Put the time in and you will learn things that other people don't know. Again, 20 hours of work is enough. You'll be ahead of damn near everybody else. So my audio guy, Nico, didn't have to go to college to learn how to do audio. I don't know if he did go to college for audio, but he didn't need to learn how to do what he does. He doesn't need any type of documentation or certification. He just needs to know more than 99% of the population, and he does. You can do the same with any technical skill. Again, remember, human beings are lazy. Do a little bit more than most humans, you have an opportunity. Point number 9. Today's topic, once again, this is the last point in our series here. I gave you 9 different business ideas that you can start right now. Number 9, personal concierge. Now, how the personal concierge differs from the virtual assistant is that the virtual assistant is doing work for someone remotely. We might live in the same town, but you don't have to come to my office every day. You just do everything online and by phone and by text messages and by messaging. That's the virtual assistant. The personal concierge, you are basically doing everything the opposite. You're doing things in person that I need done. So this is an in-person individual. And again, somebody might call this a personal assistant, but personal concierge sounds more prestigious, right? And it sounds like it has a higher price tag. If I was doing it, I'd call myself a personal concierge rather than calling myself a personal assistant. Personal assistant sounds like a little bit lower price. Now, I know a guy who used to be a personal shopper for a bunch of socialites in Manhattan, New York City. So he would go around and buy the clothes that they needed, bring it to them, make sure that they were all, dressed up the way they needed to be, so they could go out to the events where they get their pictures taken. When somebody gets out the car and everybody's taking pictures, I know a guy who used to do that for the people that were the ones getting their pictures taken. That's a personal concierge type of job. He would go to their homes, do stuff for them every day, like some of the things a personal concierge can do, like go get the dry cleaning, pick up groceries for me, walk the dog for me, maybe watch the kids for an hour or two. Similar to the virtual assistant and the dog walker, the personal concierge must have very, very good people skills. You have very strong communication abilities, and this is a high trust job, because if you're a personal concierge, unlike the virtual assistant, I'm letting you into my home. All right, you're working directly with me. I'm asking you to go and do things for me. Like, you're getting my groceries. You might be riding in my car. You might be in my house when I'm getting dressed. I might introduce you to my children. You may be introduced to my significant other. Like, you are getting deep into my world. So I have to have a high level of trust with you. So you got to have very good people skills, very good communication skills. You got to be a good listener, good at understanding things and noticing when something needs done and just doing it. That's what a personal concierge does. Same as a virtual assistant. And like I told you in the episode on virtual assistants 2 episodes ago, that I tell my assistants that your job is to make my job easy. That's the same thing I would tell a personal concierge. And one day I'm going to have me a personal concierge, and I'm going to tell them that when they start. I say, listen, I'm telling that before they start. When they're interviewing, I'm going to tell them, here's your job. Your job is to make my job easy. And then I'll go through a list of all the things that may entail, and tell them that this is not an all-inclusive list. This list is open to expansion, all right? Because a month from now, I might need to do some other stuff that I wasn't even needing a month ago. And a year from now, I may need you to do a completely different set of things that you're not doing right now. So that's the contingency that you're throwing out there for them, is that not the contingency, but the fine print. Let's just put it that way. The asterisk at the bottom of the job duties is that these can change. These are open to change. They are subject to change at any given time. And anything I need you to do, you do it. That's your job. So, and this is where a person who knows a little bit about a lot can be very valuable, because your job may be completely different from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, the personal concierge. But you have to maintain the trust. And the trust usually comes from your ability to actually go and get things done. If I just say, get this done, don't tell me how you did it. Don't ask me what to do. Just get it done. I don't care how you get it done. Just get it done. And you got to be able to sell me on that trust in early conversations, because if you can't sell me on trust, then well, how are you going to get the job? So that's the personal concierge. So let's recap today's class, where I've gone through points 7, 8, and 9 of jobs that you can start, businesses that you can start right now. You can be a complete owner. Number 7, pet sitting and dog walking. This one is pretty simple. You don't need a ton of skill for this, aside from the fact that you like dogs, and you got to get the trust of the dog owners. You need to be affable, friendly, talk to everybody, be high energy, be the type of person who you can gain somebody's trust in 30 seconds by your energy. That's the biggest thing. Number 8, online production and information technology. Anybody can develop this skill if you do a bare minimum level of skill development. You get about 20 hours of training in any subject. You know more than damn near everybody else in the population. You can get that training. You don't have to go to school for that. You can sign up for a course and you get your 20 hours of training. Most people won't go through the 20 hours of training. That's what gives you the advantage. Again, my audio guy who does the audio for this show that you're listening to right now got good at it because he was editing this show every single day. How many episodes we got? All right, 10,000 hours of work. Got good at it. Now has a whole company managing people's podcasts. You can do the exact same thing in anything that is any skill development area, any area where a certain skill is needed that you don't have to go to school for. It could be for something you got to go to school for too, but I'm wary of the skills, quote unquote skills that you learn in school. There's a lot of skills you learn in school. You go get a job in that area, they still teach you, they still train you as if you didn't know anything, right? So what do you go to school for? Different conversation for a different day. Number 9, personal concierge. Unlike the virtual assistant, personal concierge would be an in-person individual. This is someone who's like, you're going to somebody's house, you're buying them clothes, you're picking up their dry cleaning, you're walking the dog, you're getting the car washed, you're putting gas in the car, you're making sure the house cleaner comes, you're washing the dishes. You could be doing all kinds of things as a personal concierge. Whatever that person needs done, you just do it. And again, virtual assistant is doing it remotely. Personal concierge, you're basically doing it in person. And even actually, the virtual assistant, you call yourself a virtual concierge. That sounds better. It sounds more prestigious, and it sounds like it comes with a higher price tag. If I call myself a virtual concierge, I'm expecting, or if I go and talk to someone who calls himself a virtual concierge, I'm expecting to spend more money than if I talk to someone who calls himself a virtual assistant. So there's a tip for you too to make you a few dollars. All that said, now you got 9 new business ideas you would take with you right now. So any of you trying to figure out what to do next in your life, maybe you got an idea from here that you can start using, and when you're ready to start implementing it, you want the mindset, the strategy, the systems, and the accountability to execute on it. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. I will show you exactly how to do it. I will walk you through it. I will work with you to make sure you got everything on track and then you are up and running. Again, that's workonyourgameuniversity.com. And make sure you text me. Let me know that you want to get the daily motivation I send out every morning. My number is 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre all day.